But first, of course, we need a Not the News topic. This one is very interesting. And Spurge, I'll let you intro it because you were the one that shared it with me initially.
Yeah, so I found an Instagram post that was taken from, I believe it was Red Bull Romaniacs, or it was
maybe
Erzberg, or
it was from Erzberg. Yeah.
Erzberg. Okay. And KTM had debuted an adventure bike, but it was missing one significant piece of hardware. It didn't have a clutch lever. So it looks like KTM will be introducing a clutchless version of their bike. And the real question we have is, what does this mean for the world of automatic motorcycles? And I think we just wanted to chew the fat on this a little bit. And if unless you have anything else, Zach, I think we can start the timer and officially kick the discussion off.
Start it up. So a couple things about this that were kind of interesting. One, this is, if you know anything about the Honda DCT system, Honda dual clutch transmissions, which are available on Africa Twins, on Goldwings, and a few other models as well. It basically is an automatic transmission, essentially. That's what you need to know about it from a layperson's point of view. And you can use little trigger buttons for your index finger and your left thumb to shift up and shift down if you would like to, or the transmission will operate automatically as you go down the road, just like in many ways, just like an automatic car transmission would do. The KTM one is similar, though. They have a foot pedal, right? In this one, there's a lever that you can use to just like sort of kick the lever down or kick the lever up to shift when you want to, or let the bike do it automatically. So it's a slightly different mantra, a little bit more hands or perhaps feet on, but in general, the same idea. And as a KTM owner and adventure rider, Spurge, I'm very curious to hear what you think about KTM going in this direction.
So it's interesting. I think this plays a lot into, you and I have had the conversations, I think even on the podcast, around, I'm not a huge fan of quick shifters.
Right. You don't even like the quick shifter option, the electronic quick shifter on a bike with a clutch.
Yeah. And I think that honestly is such a sophisticated setup now. You and I had this discussion recently offline just around the F900 GS and the inability to be able to turn the quick shifter off. At least with the KTM, you can turn it off and you get a little of that feel back. But I think as an adventure rider, I don't know if you want this. Like I think,
have you used a Recluse clutch? A Recluse clutch, for those who are not familiar, will allow enough clutch slippage for the engine to keep running, so that if you're in first gear and you're going really slow down a creek bed or something like that, that bike won't stall, or is less likely to stall. And have you used that system, Spurge?
I have, and I do not like the feel of that either. No.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So you're just old school, man. You want a clutch lever in your left hand and a cigar in your right hand. And
yeah, I mean, I think you should stop right there before it goes into what I want to
other appendages.
I guess I can understand how, and I can appreciate how this is making motorcycling more approachable, right? There's a reason that there's a DCT version of the Goldwing, because they're selling them. And there's a reason that there's a DCT version of the Africa Twin, because they're selling them. So I can understand what KTM is trying to do here. I think it'll be interesting to see which bikes get them and which bikes don't, and whether or not this is really something that the hardcore adventure rider is looking for, or if it's something that's maybe, a little bit more of the average rider would appreciate.
Right. It's interesting because, it's very interesting because KTM is sort of like KTM reaches for and has built a sort of like you said, a hardcore base of customers that really likes, adventure riding to be, difficult and hard nosed and that kind of thing. And it makes me wonder if KTM sees this as a convenience or if they see it as a performance upgrade, like a Recluse clutch on an enduro bike, So it's curious. It'll be curious to see if and how they market it. And
also how it works. We're just seeing hints of this out on the internet for the first time. So I think that, to my knowledge, this would only be the second manufacturer outside of Honda going towards an automatic type system.
Well, there have been other automatic transmissions in the past, I believe.
In the past, but I'm talking about now.
Current.
Yeah.
Current.
I don't know, Kawasaki might have something.
Does that hybrid bike have? I haven't ridden that one yet. Shamefully. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is interesting developments going on with KTM and potentially dual clutch transmissions, which is, if for no other reason, it's interesting because Honda and KTM are often seen as being on opposite ends of the sort of aggression spectrum as brands, and yet they're both interested in playing in the sandbox. So
But the important thing is, if you are playing the Highside, Lowside drinking game, we've barely scratched the surface of the episode, and we've already talked about KTM for about 3.5 minutes based on that timer. So I'm going to take a drink while Zach now lets you know how excited we are to move on to our guest.
Great segue.